I'm an artist. Now what?
Hi, I'm James the Box Office Artist, and welcome to my brand new podcast channel. This channel is for you, the artist, you who wants a career in art. And I'm going to be interviewing professionals from all different fields of art so you can decide what kind of art is right for you. So I thought to start off, what we will do is take some of the older interviews I've done with art professionals and let you have a sample, a taste of what this new podcast channel will be. Today we are going to start with one of my favorite interviews of all time with a great guy. His name is Greg Capullo, comic book artist, worked for Marvel and DC. We shot this way back in 2017. Now, I'm a lot thinner here. See? He agrees. But what he says is still relevant today. Very famous in the comic book circles, and he gives some wonderful advice on how to break into the industry and his great stories as well. He is hilarious. I hope you enjoy this interview. I'm here with Greg Capullo.
Ah! All right, okay. How are you doing great today?
I'm doing pretty well. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. There you go. There you go. That's fantastic. My friend, can you please let our viewers know, if like they didn't know already, what are you currently working on?
Well, I just got off of 5 years of working with Scott Snyder on Batman for DC, but right now I'm working with Mark Miller on a project called Reborn. And that's going to drop in October, and it's going to be published under Image. I'm co-creating it, and I hope you check it out. You know, it's like Lord of the Rings, Road Warrior, just crazy off-the-hook, action-packed stuff, you know what I mean? So, and I've got more lead time, you know, it's not the monthly grind, so I'm pouring more energy into the artwork, you know? So it's going to be some visual feast and a cool story, so check it out.
Can you tell us how you actually broke into the comic book industry a long, long time ago, if you don't mind?
Yeah, it's in a way that you can't do it really anymore. You know, I lived outside of New York, upstate New York, and, you know, all the Marvel offices, DC offices were down Manhattan, you know? So I would just get, like, my portfolio, and I'd go down on a train, no appointment, and I'd get on the elevator, which you can't do that anymore. You know, you can't make it past the lobby, you know? And I would just plead with them, you know, I traveled all the way from Schenectady, New York, can somebody please come and look at my portfolio? And sure enough, somebody would always come out and check me out. I mean, I even met with Jim Shooter, you know, who was the editor-in-chief at the time, and I met a lot of great editors, and I would just do that impromptu over and over. And then I ended up hooking up with Larry Hama, who was like this brutal editor who just whipped my ass hard. And what happened with that was, he was talking on a level that I couldn't understand, you know, and so I thought he was full of shit, you know. And toward the end, you know, our last meeting, he said to me, I could tell by the way you're looking at me, you think I'm full of shit. And I says, I do think you're full of shit. And he says, well, F you, get the F out of my office. I said, F you, I'm going. And he goes, another thing, F you should give up and drive a truck. And I said, oh yeah, F you, you know. And so then a couple of years went by, you know, and all of a sudden the stuff he was trying to tell me started to make sense, and I started following the advice. Like a dumb jackass I should have followed 2 years ago, I finally followed his advice, and that's what got me good enough to be recognized. And then John Romita Sr. was art director. He's the guy that took me under his wing and actually started knocking on doors because he thought I was ready. And that's how I got in. Again, kids at home, you can't do it my way. Yeah, it runs different now. But that's the way and so I met with all these great guys who taught me so much about the industry. I know more than most editors in the business now because of how I got in and all those great guys who gave me all this coaching along the way, you know?
Oh, fantastic story, but don't do it that way, kids. Okay. With that, because you have a style, the way you approach scripts, the way you draw, can you talk about your collaboration with writers and how that particularly works? Like, you don't work full scripts, is that correct?
Well, that's true. You know, I was raised Marvel way, which we were given a synopsis, basically, which was like 4 to 6 pages. It had the layout of the story, key moments of dialogue and all that, because you had those emotional marks and whatever. But we were trained to turn that into a visual 22-page story based off of just that. And now I work with Scott Snyder. He's accustomed to give full script, you know, which is all the story beats, all the dialogue. And so I get the full script now, but I have all the freedom to change the pacing, the story beats, you know, move them around, add, take away. You know, if I see a scene would work differently, trust me to make those modifications. But not all writers are as flexible as my boy Scott Snyder. Some guys are real a-holes, you know what I mean? And I'll never work with any of them. So, and you know who you are. And but Scott Snyder's great, man. He gives me all the room to do whatever I want. So it's still full script, but with flexibility.
Okay, oh, that's fantastic. Now, well, since you just came from DC, you're working with Image Comics now. What's the difference in working for something like on Batman and then working on something you can create your own with multiple art?
Well, obviously, I'm creating everything from scratch. You know what I mean? And so there's the fun in that. So, and you co-own it, so all the money you're splitting it. You know, so also a good thing. But I have no complaints, really, man. You know, DC treats me like phenomenal. You know what I mean? So, but in this way, you know, if we turn it into a movie or toys or whatever, you know, I own that. I get that. So, what I mean, so there's the advantage. You know what I mean? The money, kids, the money. No. And the cool factor of designing it all from scratch, and nobody can tell you it's wrong because it's you. You own it, so it's not wrong. This is what I say it is.
Fantastic. So again, a lot of my viewers are aspiring artists. What's the key to having a great or long career in comic books itself?
Well, I mean, I think the hardest thing first is to get in, right? And you know, because it's a small dog bowl, and a lot of dogs want to get at that bowl. And how do you do that? You have to be hungrier than the other dogs. You need to know more than the other dogs. You have to be more tenacious. You know what I mean, and all that. So you need all that. But the other part of it, I mean. You have to do the work, man, and it's a tough business. You don't realize until you get in. Those deadlines never move. You can be sick, you know what I mean? Your girlfriend left you, your dog died, you know, whatever, you're not inspired. It doesn't matter. Any of that doesn't matter. The deadline's there. Go. You know, put on the ideas. Too bad. Go. You know what I mean? So they don't understand that before you get into it. Then you realize, oh my God, you know what I mean? But it's still worth it. If you love it, it's worth it, and you'll keep going. And the key to longevity is to always try and put your best work out there. You know, you're only as good as the last thing you did. So you can never lose sight of that. Start to relax and go back on your laurels. You got to always 100%, man.
Okay, fantastic. One more question for you, for our aspiring artists. What advice would you have for them, to anyone who's trying to break into comic books today?
It's a different story now, and I don't even know exactly to give it the proper advice. But, you know, now you have to, by what I hear, and to me this is a little strange, but if that's the rules these days, you got nothing else but to follow them. They want guys, if you want to be a writer, for instance, they don't want to read your scripts. They want you to hook up with an artist and actually make a comic book and publish it and show them that. To me, that's a little bit odd. You know what I mean? Everybody, the way it worked with me back in the day, you gave your submission, whether you're a writer or you're an artist. It's running different now. But they also have talent scouts, you know, that go out, like C.B. Lebowski, who is Marvel's guy, and Eddie Bruggen's one of the guys, you know, go around, you know, and Bobby Chase go around, and they scout talents at various shows. So it's always a good idea to follow them on Twitter or to try and be at a show that they're at. And but if doing what it takes is to compile your own comic book, I guess that's the way to do it. I don't really see that as the fair way, and if I was running a company, it's not the way I would play it. I'd want to see what you can do as an individual. I worry about putting you together with other individuals after what I see what you can do. But that's the way they're running it these days. So it sucks, in my opinion, but that's the way they have to roll.
Okay, so I'd like to thank you for your time. I know you have to run to a panel, but before we go, where can our viewers find you or follow you?
Listen, I'm always on Twitter. You know, Scott Snyder dragged me kicking and screaming, and now you can't get me off Twitter. You know what I mean? I'm even when I'm on the toilet, I'm on Twitter. I mean, it's just, you know, I know that's a gross thought, but it's a reality that you have to face, okay? I might be tweeting you from the throne room, all right? That's the ugly, smelly truth, folks, all right?
And what's your Twitter?
Oh, it's very easy to find, man. It's just at Greg Capullo, man. No mysterious fluff around it. So that's it. Just Greg Capullo, brother.
Okay, thank you so much, Greg Capullo. All continued success to you, and good luck with your new title.
Thanks so much, man.
Wasn't that a riot? Wasn't he great? Thank you so much to Greg Capullo, and make sure you subscribe to this channel. We are so excited for all the new interviews that we have done for the new podcast. We will have one really long, really insightful interview, and we are going to clip out all of the best parts of that interview in bite-sized pieces in separate videos so that you can find it really easily. So make sure that you subscribe and tune in over the next few weeks as I will replay some of my classic interviews to prepare you for all of the new interviews we are going to have on this channel. Thank you so much for watching. My name is James, and I'm your best friend.